This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to, but it's vulnerable out in the open. There's a storm hitting us in 6 hours. We're gonna find out who's who.
John Carpenter's The Thing. This 1982 adaptation of John W. Campbell's novella, Who Goes There, is an iconic film in the science fiction horror genre. There are many elements that contributed to its success, but perhaps none more important than those responsible for establishing the core fear that this movie is exposing us to. I'm talking about paranoia.
You believe any of this voodoo bullshit, Blair?
Charles, Chariots are the gods, man. They practically own South America. I mean, they taught the Incas everything they know.
But before we continue, let's quickly set up what our story entails.
Chapter 1.
We're introduced to a group of American researchers in Antarctica who, luck would have it, are infiltrated by an extraterrestrial life form that assimilates and then imitates its host. Oh my.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Anyone can be the imitation, and this conflict is what emits the anxiety we experience throughout the film. Our monster, or thing, is therefore just a vehicle, a personification of this fear. Meaning the real stars of the show are the filmmaking techniques used to transmit this fear from the pages of the script to your living room TV. With all that said, I think we're ready.
Clear!
So sit back, grab your favorite security blanket, and enjoy as we dig in a little deeper to see what goodies we can find. The first thing that stands out to me in this film is the cinematography. The way the camera pans and tilts, pushes in and out. All this movement not only leads our attention to where it's required, but it also acts as our embodiment within those walls, thus amplifying our experience from casual onlooker to something a bit more visceral. My personal favorite example of this can be found during the Norwegian-based investigation. In the look and feel of this image we get of Cooper walking down the hall and towards the ice block is only possible because of the anamorphic lenses used in the production of this film. These not only provide a wider field of view and an increased depth of field, but it also allows for the subject in the center of the frame to be close up without distortion. And this was used with great effect to both accentuate the tight corridors of the research base as well as provide enough room in the frame to fit the entire cast. On top of that, the camera movement was also used to help map out the geography of the setting, which is beneficial when the vast majority of the time is spent within the confines of a particular set. And you can trace this style employed by John Carpenter and his cinematographer Dean Cundey to their first collaboration in 1978's Halloween. It's through this carefully planned framing and shot compositions that they're able to mold a foreboding mood which culminates into a heightened sense of paranoia. But cinematography alone is not enough, because it's in the edits that you'll make or break the film.
This is pure nonsense. Doesn't prove a thing.
I thought you'd feel that way, Gary. You were the only one that could have got to that blood. We'll do you last.
The art of cutting the film is, as the name implies, a crucial ingredient. It's what ultimately sets the pacing and the texture of our story. But even more so than that, If we then give this facet the attention it deserves, you'll discover that much of the storytelling and information we're being provided is shouldered by the intermingling cut. Let me explain. In the Norwegian base, when MacReady and Dr. Cooper discover the corpse, the cause of his death is communicated visually using cuts. The man sliced his wrist with a razor, then his throat, and ultimately bled to death. And all of this is established without a line of dialogue. But the benefits of this form of storytelling goes deeper, as it invites the viewer to actively engage with the film. We're being asked to put two and two together, come up with an answer, but then are crucially left to fend for ourselves while asking, something is definitely wrong, but we don't know what. Something is definitely wrong, but we don't know what. If you haven't guessed it already, this is all being done to build suspicion, or as we'll soon find out, paranoia. Because something is definitely wrong and holy sh**.
Cheating bitch.
I think that's a wrap. And if you wanna broaden your film croissant credentials, then make sure to check out the links down below to learn more about these anamorphic lenses. Maybe use this newfound knowledge in your next dinner party? Yes. Film croissants. Once again, muchas gracias. Thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate all the support. Maybe think about leaving us a like or subscribing if you haven't already. This has been another spooktacular October. Make sure to stay tuned because there's going to be more of this kind of content. 2 more weeks. You get 2 more weeks of spooky content. Lucky you. It's beginning to look a lot like Halloween. Ha ha ha. Everywhere